Hey, thanks for tuning in today. My name is Jeremy Nicolaitis, and I'm the founder and CEO of Golden Octopillar, and we are on a mission to double the sales of 1,000 businesses in the next 5 years. And one of the ways that we're doing that is we're hosting an extreme business makeover. This is a 5-day challenge where we get together for 1 to 2 hours a day for 5 days in a row, and we implement a framework and a process for predictable sales and to get you on a path to doubling your sales in the next 90 days. So if you're interested, definitely see the link below or head over to goldenoctopillar.com/EBM. That EBM stands for Extreme Business Makeover. Head over there, get signed up. I'd love to see you on the next challenge so that we can get you on the path to doubling your sales and make you one of the 1,000 businesses that we're helping in the next 5 years. Now, beyond that, what you're about to watch right now is a great interview I did that's part of a series where I reached out to successful creative entrepreneurs and business owners to first talk to them about how they managed the COVID economy and how, when the world shut down, what they did with their businesses to stay successful and what they would do if they had to start over. If they were somebody that wanted to take their side hustle and make it their main hustle, if somebody who was struggling because of what was going on with the economy, how can they help their business? What are the things that they would do? So it's full of great stories, great tips. These are great people and they're sharing their knowledge and their experience. And I'm super grateful for their willingness to be a part of this. And definitely watch them all because all the businesses are different. And some of them may resonate with you more than others. So check it out. Definitely also check out their Instagram profiles and Facebook and follow them and let's just share some love. So hopefully you enjoy this one and all the other ones. All right. Thank you. What's up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Create and Live Free. Today we have Jimbo Bernas. Did I do okay there? Did okay?
Yeah.
We were practicing before we hit record here. Jimbo is an accomplished hand lettering artist and graphic designer who is known for powerful color palettes and clever design techniques that he uses to demonstrate mastery of the form. Many of his pieces are accented with floral embellishments and design motif that has captured the attention of thousands across social media, which he does have a fantastic social media following. I did see that. Today, this Croatia-based designer is the co-founder of BAM Creative Studio, also known as Shout BAM on Instagram, which specializes in letter crafting, illustration, digital products, and education products to help amateur letterers and illustrators enhance their skills. So much going on. I love it. It plays perfectly into our topic today. What is happening? I'm so glad that you're here today. How are you today?
Hey, what's up? Super good. I'm a bit tired, but all good, man. Super excited to be here. It's been a while, it's been a while talking to you, and I'm super excited to be in the podcast finally.
Yeah, I'm happy to hear. We had such a good conversation. For those that don't know, we kind of do an intro. We have a call like before these interviews. We have a phone call and kind of talk and discuss what we think would be helpful for people to hear. And in fact, that day, I remember I was at a car dealership, right? Do you remember that? And then I was standing outside on Zoom outside of this car dealer because it was time for us to get a new car. And I don't know about you, but maybe you can relate to this in business. I like when people are selling me things. I don't know if you experience that because you get to see what they're doing and saying, Yeah,
it's kind of like you can, get the techniques and kind of copy them in the future, But I do like it, if it's kind of, I don't know, there's different ways of selling, and sometimes you can see they're kind of being sneaky about some things that I'm like, I know you're doing that because I'm also selling and I know that I shouldn't be doing certain things, so.
Well, it's true, right? And I think in dealing with the car salesman, right? They get the bad rap. It's always oh, you don't want to be a used car salesman, which I'm no doubt there are, probably a million really nice, wonderful used car salesmen on this planet, but they get a bad rap probably because of movies and stuff. But yeah, you get to
That's for sure.
Right? They kind of you get to analyze what they're doing and saying, and as we get better at business, you can see where some people can use that skill set for bad and some people could use it for good. And we're people that use it for good, right? We do good.
Yeah, I just, I really love, I'm a big fan of smiles. So if someone is smiling at me, even if they're using the wrong techniques, I'm like, I'm okay, as long as it's if it's a genuine smile, obviously. But yeah, totally.
You could tell.
Yeah, I think you can. Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially in certain places. Yeah.
Yeah. I ended up negotiating 3 different cars, before we ended up getting the one we got. And it's a really interesting time right now because of COVID. And I don't know if you're aware, but like there's this chip shortage. And so they can't actually sell cars. I mean, they can sell cars, but there's not enough cars. And so now you're negotiating at least here in the US, how far over MSRP you're going to pay. Mm-hmm. So like how much above the normal asking price. I don't even know what MSRP stands for. I just know that normally you see that like price and you negotiate how much under you're going to pay. And this time it was over. But I got to tell you, the first guy, we got so close. No, it was the second guy, the second car. We got really close and it just didn't happen. And I was like, man, I'm not going there. Like I drew a line in the sand and I really wasn't going there. I wasn't trying to play hardball, but it was, you're not making it work for me. And that's cool. And maybe you can't make it work for me on that vehicle. But that guy, once that happened, he was a jerk. Like he kind of walked me to the door and then we got to the door and this is a normal non-COVID world. It'd be very normal to stand there for a minute, shake hands, 2 feet apart from each other.
Ways.
Yeah. And I thought, okay, maybe, we'll say bye and maybe, give him a pound instead of a handshake or, whatever, shake hands and, clean your hand or something. We're at a point, we know how to take care of ourselves, right? With this virus.
Shake and clean.
Right. But this guy just turned around and walked away. And he was like, oh my God, this guy's a jerk. So I won't be coming back here again. It's like, hey man, it didn't work. It didn't work.
That's sad. And you were both wearing masks, or this is something that is happening in America or not anymore?
We wear masks. Yeah. We had to wear masks the whole time. Yeah. Cause even when we're outside.
So weird. That is so weird, isn't it? I don't get used to it. I don't know if I should trust that person or not anymore. I don't know anything.
Yeah.
I barely hear them. I'm so confused, Yeah.
You didn't realize how much that you were reading lips until everybody started wearing a mask. Right. I was like, oh my gosh, I was in a Starbucks the other day and I'm like, I'm so sorry that I keep asking you to repeat yourself, but it's hard for me to hear you. And I can't normally I'd be able to read your lips a little bit, and I wouldn't be asking, but it's funny. It wasn't until that moment that I realized it.
I'm Spanish and in Spain, people speak really loudly. So I barely have a problem there. We are really, we express ourselves with the hands and all that. So it kind of helps, it kind of helps living there. But I imagine if you're, I guess in your place, it's kind of the same, you're warm people, but I kind of imagine that in more like, let's say cold countries, that they speak loud, like they speak a bit down and everything, it has to be really hard to actually get to communicate with the person.
Right. Yeah. Right. When that energy isn't in there, in the voice.
Yeah. Then you feel it. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, just one question, man. What car are we talking about? Just out of curiosity.
Oh yeah. We ended up buying, or we leased it. The vehicle my wife and I said we would never get. And it is the family minivan.
Okay, that's good. I like that.
Which, by the way, is awesome. It's like this. I love this. There's so much space on the inside. We traveled up like 2 days after we got the car. We traveled up to Northern California, which is like an 8-hour drive from LA up to where her family is. And so it was us, the 2 kids. We have a big dog. All of our luggage. We were going to be gone for 2 weeks, and there was so much room and space. And it also drives by itself, which is not.
Really?
We didn't know when we got it, but once we were on the road, it'll like the cruise control. It'll speed up and slow down for you, right? So if there's a car, it'll slow down, and if you have room, it'll speed up based on that. But it'll also steer, like the steering wheel will steer for you, which is kind of weird. Because you're like,
it kind of follows the lines of the road, right? I've seen that before. Yeah. I think it kind of reads the lines. And,
I would feel more comfortable if I knew how it worked, right? Because I'm now driving and I'm more alert and more tense because I'm afraid the car is going to drive off the road. You go through areas where there's construction, where there's road work, and you can see where the line used to go to the side, or there's a change in color in the asphalt. And I'm thinking, well, is the car going to follow that? Like, what is the car thinking? What does it do now? Like, is it going to, like, oh my God, there's a giant truck coming next to me. What's it going to do? So I just turned it off. I didn't use it. I was like,
Yeah,
it's so much easier to drive by myself.
Well, yeah, at some point you won't be able to take it off. So and
Right.
the AI is just gonna like control you, and that's it. That's it.
I mean, I do look forward to it. I think I'd be more comfortable if I was in a Tesla, like in a car that I knew could drive itself. But like just coming
and you probably buy it because of it. You buy it because of that.
exactly.
Because it's cool. Yeah.
You can get stuff done in the car, right? You could work. Well, let's dive into it. Everybody's just listening to us.
Let's do it.
Listen to us go on, which is good. But your specialty is letters, right? Like and I have your Instagram up, and we'll put links below. But it's your name, Jimbo Bernaz. Am I saying it right? Am I doing okay?
You can keep trying. You can keep trying. Yeah. Okay. So Jimbo Bernaus. That would be like in Catalan. Bernaus. That's it.
Bernaus. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. It's that just roll this R. Bernaus.
Yeah, gotta roll the R's.
Yeah. So I do letters for a living, and that's something that might come, a little bit weirdly to some people, especially the first time that I said it to my parents, that I started doing letters and blah blah blah, or when I meet someone that's completely unconnected to design, and I'm like, yeah, I do letters, and I live off them, and yeah, it might sound weird, but it's kind of my specialty. But inside, I have a graphic design studio with my partner, and we do a lot of things that are not letters, even though when I'm bored or when I don't know what to do, I come back to the letters because it's my passion. But lately I've been also entering the world of illustration, and it's like I love doing letters. I'm probably known because of the letters, but I try to put more illustrations and florals around the letters, and in the future I'm even thinking about getting into 3D and all that. So I really keep my mind open about it. I don't think I'm going to be doing letters my whole life, even though I'm going to, for sure, not exclusively doing letters, right? So that's going to be something that is going to kind of, come with me for sure, because I like it. Yeah. But yeah, let's see. I'm up to exploring anything.
And they're awesome. And I definitely encourage everybody to check you out, because we're talking about letters, but these are pieces of art. Just like beautiful design, the color palette's amazing. But also it's like you're integrating letters and text into illustrations, right? Like it's almost like I'm seeing a painting that has letters within it. I look at this and true statement, I'm thinking, oh man, like I want you to redesign everything. Like I want you to go through my web pages and like my logos, like where can I integrate this art into my brand? Right. And I'm sure that's what a lot of people, when they see this, they go, oh man, I would, the credibility that it would bring to my brand, just when people, I used to own a print and marketing business, right? So I definitely understand how, the look and the feel too, right? Like on the printing side, like once you print it, the way it feels in your hand, right? And there's just that look. I think it's awesome. I love what you're doing. In terms of this, so on the illustration side, you go like just illustration for hire kind of thing?
Yeah, I mean, it really depends, in my studio, we started doing branding in the beginning, and I still do, with my partner. Well, I'm gonna say her name is Thea, and we work together. And I'm basically going to say her name all the time. And instead of partner, I'm going to say Thea. So it kind of gets more personal. Yeah. She's more of an illustrator as well. So we kind of combine things, and it really depends. There's a lot of places that you can put lettering and illustration, and one of the favorite things we have is packaging. That's just, right up our alley. We really like it. We did few drinks in the past, and now we're working on 2 or 3, and basically lettering, you can do the logotype, you can do any kind of saying inside, it really works for in a lot of areas, and illustration, it really, it kind of blends in perfectly, so also I kind of define lettering as illustration sometimes, because sometimes, when you start illustrating those letters, you start drawing those letters. It's not like we're talking about font design anymore, but we're talking about, as you said before, as the whole art, right? The whole thing together kind of forms an illustration. So I think that's why, sometimes I kind of rather say just, I'm kind of like, I'm an illustrator, I'm a letterer, it really depends on the mood and how I want to call myself, let's say.
Sure. Yeah. And it's what people want, right? You have a skill set that could be used to deliver the needs of your client, right? And that's the point of all of it. Like, you got into there with a desire because something you like to do, but once you're in there, your clients kind of guide you to what they need and what they're asking for, and you decide if you want to fulfill on that or not, right?
Yeah. I mean, I guess in the beginning, you're not known as a lettering designer or, as an illustrator. And then, you get a lot of, clients that want, any sorts of style, and then in the beginning, obviously, and that's kind of going to my, just touching my backstory a little bit. But when we started the studio, it was just, getting any kind of job, and just doing it because our background is graphic design. We both studied graphic design. So anything that was related, to it, like brochures and posters and any kind of thing, we didn't want to do because a lot of things we didn't want to do, but we had to, right? Because we had to get started. But nowadays, we luckily we are able to choose more our clients and what we want to do. And as you can see in my Instagram and in the studio's Instagram, which is @shoutbam, if you want to check it out, everything is just colorful and super, uplifting, and it's basically us, and that's how we want to be defined. And that's, every client that comes in now kind of knows what we do, and they know that we want to achieve something colorful and something alive like that. And super excited, because now the projects that are entering are finally those that we are really passionate about, and we love it.
I love it. Yeah, I just switched to the company account and absolutely see what you're saying and see the packaging designs on here.
Yeah,
it's really cool stuff. So, the topic. So today, we're talking about multiple streams of income, right? Or multiple streams of revenue, I should say. And so you were just kind of talking about how, when you start, you're just doing anything and everything that you can do and what people want because you need revenue and you got to start, right? It's that startup phase. And then you get to the point where you're like, okay, it's coming in. Now we can start to pick and choose. What did that look like? At what point, are you able to say, okay, I'm going to start something else? Like, what is kind of that look like for people?
Right. It's always about, that's something that, this, the Future company, the Chris Do, he was, talking about it one day, like he said, like, less work and, more income, you're right. Like, instead of having 10 clients, you get 5 and you charge more, but you put more effort in those, right? And in the end, it's kind of like the whole thing, when we started, we kind of, let's say, like, really small budgets, and we didn't have that much time to do them because we just needed a lot of those in order to, to actually pay the bills, right? But in the end, it's kind of like it kind of builds up, and it kind of you realize that instead of saying yes to everything, you can just try to say, put your prices a bit up and see, who values your work the most, right?
Yeah.
So we kind of did that, and it's just like trial and error all the time, you just gotta you kind of just go and be like 10x your prices like that. So you kind of start, let's put a bit more, put the prices up a little bit, and then whoever really wanted to work with us, hired us, and that's how kind of like we stepped up the game. Also, an important thing for us to just do colorful things was just, even if we had a lot of finished clients and all, and finished works, what we did was to do a lot of personal work, which is super important. And just put in the internet, whatever we really liked. So, and that's when we started to realize, just don't post everything. Just post what you like, what you enjoy.
Post what you want to do, right? And I've heard this from others as well, that they tell a very similar story in terms of getting to the point of doing what they love. Is you have to do the jobs that you do, but when you're posting on social media, and I think creatives, right, have the advantage that you naturally create things that are beautiful to the eyes, right? And so people want to look at your stuff. So your accounts can grow. Like you're somebody who's an accountant or somebody who's just outside of the art field, they too need to be on social media and create ads and videos and all this stuff. But their stuff doesn't look good in the beginning. They have to hire somebody, like, unless they have a background, right? I don't want to single them all out, but you know what I mean? Like by default, but what everybody's saying is that, just put the stuff you love in there too, because people go through your account and they say, oh, I like that. I want that. Right. Just like I did. I looked at your account and I was like, oh, I want you to like do a makeover on all my stuff that people see, because I just know it'll be beautiful and it'll be better. And people, even me being a creative, I don't want to tell you what to do. I just want to say, I like this, make something like this. And then let you do you and do what you're good at. Something else you said in there that I think is super important, and I kind of just want to go back to it a little bit, is talking about your prices, right? And in the beginning, right, you're doing a lot of cheaper stuff. You're competing. People in the beginning are often picking their prices based on what they see other people are charging, right? Yeah. But you're also you're so like desperate to get the wheels turning and get stuff in, right? You overcommit for very little return. But you can pick your prices and people will pay more. And I think it's important for people to know that we have to sell the value, right? And not just put a price and not say, oh, well, it took me 3 hours, so then I'm going to charge this. It should be completely detached from your time. And what is it, right? If you're giving me a makeover, right? If on my brand, I could benefit, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands. Like, who are we talking about here, right? A makeover could bring in 6 figures of additional revenue just because the perception of your company looks different. That's the power of what you're doing. And so there's no reason why you shouldn't have, a package that's, $50,000, like 50 US, like you should be able, and I'm saying this, I have no idea like what you charge what is normal, but I could see you being able to go to a big company, right? And say, this is a massive package and this is what we're going to do. And the ease of it happening, right? Like people buy the ease, like we're good at what we do. We'll put this together. It's going to be easy for you and it's going to make you look good. And you're selling that outcome and you can put a higher price tag on it. And yes. I used to tell my employees, because they would always, I don't know if you experience this, you probably do, but everybody wants to negotiate. Everybody's like, I'd have this print and marketing thing. And when people just came in for like print jobs, like I need 1,000 business cards, right? They would just want to negotiate. I'm like, you don't go into McDonald's and negotiate. Like, this is the price for it. But still, nonetheless, we would end up negotiating, right? And the employees always wanted to just go so cheap. And I would tell them, don't sell or negotiate based on your wallet, right? Don't do it based on what you think it is, right? We need to find out now this comes into like sales techniques and like cars and stuff, right? Where we need to find out what the customer or the client needs. What is the outcome they want, right? Yeah. And then how can we fulfill on that? And we go down that road, and it takes also all the pressure off sales, right? Like I'm not interested in being any kind of high pressure sales situation. Like I don't want to pressure anybody to buy anything from me. I want to know what you need and what you're looking for. And if I can solve that problem, here's a way we can do it. Let's look at it. And then we'll figure out a price or a cost to it, and it'll be fine. Right. You figure it out.
I mean, listen, I love negotiating, it's not a problem. And I understand because like in the company, we also hire people to do things for us, and I understand that paying a lot might hurt sometimes and that's it's normal. Oh, wow. There's just some crazy thunder out there.
I heard just a little bit. Yeah.
Well, I heard a lot. So
hopefully the power stays on.
Yeah. Hopefully. Yeah. And also, I think when, in the beginning, I believe we lost clients because we undervalued ourselves.
Yes.
That's something that you don't think at the moment. They don't reply, or they don't, they ghost you, and you're like, oh, what did I do wrong? But
you're so cheap They don't go with you.
I remember back in 2016, no, last 2013 probably. I was getting started, and I got reached out by a massive corporation, and I remember that they wanted a fresh logotype or something like that. And at that time, I started doing lettering and calligraphy, because I got started in calligraphy, and then I jumped into lettering. And I remember that I think I sent them a budget of, what was it, $100 or something like that. I remember. I never got any reply from them, and I think that was it. I didn't. I just said, yeah, it's gonna be $100. And when I compare it to what we do now, not just in terms of numbers, but in terms of we charge this, and we charge it because of this is our process. This is who we work with. This is what you're gonna get from this. Is all the value that you're gonna get from this job, right? And we do these massive PDFs, and now I compare. Before we just, hey, it's $100. That's gonna be it. So I think, yeah, it's just a process. You learn and you get better and better and better. Yeah. And also, what's really important sometimes is that what you said before, right? Like the value or the what they're gonna do with what you're doing. For example, last year I remember that since the COVID situation was really bad, and I myself, I'm a singer. I've been singing in 2 bands for 10 years, and I was really involved in the music scene, previously. And a band from my town reached out, right? And they said, listen, we would like, we are doing a new album, and we would like, some illustration, some flowers, and some lettering. And they said, like, send us a budget, and I, and those times you think to yourself, like, after all these years, that I appreciate certain people and certain industries, and I know that they will make money. Like I know already that being a musician nowadays, it's really hard. That's especially in little towns and everything. Yeah. So I decided let's do it pro bono, and we just didn't charge anything, and it made more sense for me. And after that, I got complete freedom to do whatever I wanted, because they really wanted us to do the job. And I had so much fun, and I'd rather just, like, I'm going to do it for free. I'm going to help you guys. And that also helped us, actually, because after we also got 2 jobs out of it, because we finally got to experience, this. Well, we actually got to do these illustrations that we never did before. And we got to, like, spend 1 week and kind of like with different concepts that, we never touched on before and all that. Yeah. So I think it's really important. Like if when you feel it, you can also do stuff for free. It's totally valid, but don't do it for the wrong people or the people that expect you to do, free things, because a lot of people expect you, even though you grow and grow and grow, some people are still gonna, chip out on you. And that's not good.
Yeah. No, and I love that. And that also, it plays into how you said you kind of do your own stuff, right? And put that on social media. That even though it's free, you weren't going to get a lot of money anyways, right? And you ended up getting, you say, look, let's just do it for free. And you got the freedom, you got to do what you wanted. You got the publicity, you got more jobs. You're able to put it on your social media and show something that you love doing, so you can get more of that work. And I assume you also did it because you had the time, like you were able to do it. And so it didn't put you in a bad situation, right?
It didn't. I mean, I had to push some things aside, but at that time, it kind of like, I felt like that was the right move. And it was. Actually, if you see it, this is in Shalbam's Instagram is I think probably the 3rd post or something like that. It's called Caleta de Mati.
Oh yeah, it's right here, like center screen for me. Yeah.
So that's
super like tropical, floral. It looks beautiful. It looks like it'd also be like a great shirt.
Yeah. I mean, they didn't, obviously here in the presentation, you can see vinyls and it's this and that, and this was just, we were hired to do a Spotify cover. That's it. They didn't even print it out, but, we went the extra mile and, we had so much fun. So, yeah.
It's cool. It looks awesome. So let's talk, different revenue streams, right? So
yeah, let's go there. Yeah.
You've got, which is, and by the way, this is, we went a little bit off to the side here, but talking about like how you price things and, don't be the cheapest. These are like things that people have to know. I love it. Especially the cheap, actually on the cheap thing, people, like imagine like you need a heart surgeon, right? And you go to get a heart surgeon, like let's just to be extreme for a moment. And you're like, well, I got to figure out, I want the best. This is my heart. Right. And you go, you're not going to pick the cheapest, right? Or if you need an attorney, anytime, like there is no benefit to being the second cheapest, right? Like I'm sure there's somebody out there who's the cheapest and might have, 50 people working for them somewhere else in the world for lower wages and fine. Like I'm not talking about like, brutality or not treating people right, but like just using other incomes in other parts of the world. That's their model and they could do it. But you can also be the most expensive, right? And you can be that person. And people will, if you got to deliver, right? Like you got to have a quality product and you got to deliver, but you could definitely be that. So multiple streams of revenue coming in. You hit at what point did this like dawn on you that this is what you should do? Like, where were you? And like, what did you do to change and start adding different things?
I think the first thing is that, now that, in these years of social media, you hear a lot of things, here and there, and your friends are talking about it and your colleagues are talking about certain things, and I think like I kind of heard, this, like, oh, well, I'm doing money doing that. I'm doing money doing that, and at some point, Tay and I were, I remember that we were in, I think it was August, 2000, I don't know. I'm not going to put a number because one day I say 17 and the other one I say 16. So I'm just going to say 2000 something.
It was a while ago.
I think it was like 3 years ago or four years ago. I don't know. But, it was August and we were at Tea's parents in the countryside. And we were actually having no clients. We actually finished one client that we had. And that was something awesome. And we were really happy, And after 5 minutes, we thought, wow, like that's it. We don't have any more clients. And I think it was like early August or something. And then it was kind of like, wow, we had to start thinking, what are we going to do? Because it seems like August and, Januaries are also like that, for at least for us, here. Mm-hmm. And we thought we have to do something, because we cannot just, expect that we're going to have clients forever. And also, it's difficult, to just do clients and just do the clients you want, because that's another of the things that I'm going to talk now. Mm-hmm. So we started thinking, what to do, what to do. And then we stumbled upon Creative Market. And then we were like, okay, like, let's try to, let's do a product, even if we sell it once, like that's just gonna, fill our hearts. That's mm-hmm. it. And I remember that back in university, I designed a font, and we were like, okay, let's rebrand that thing, So we actually got the font from Glyphs, and we designed like a few more characters and this and that. And we rebranded the whole font, and all the posters you could do with it, and, mm-hmm. all the things, the logo types you can do with it, and this and that. And we started adding some extras, so people can, do their own logos and stuff. And then we put it on Creative Market, It took us quite a while, actually. I think like 3 or 4 months. We did the first sale, and by that time, I think we kind of forgot about the product. It's just like, it was an experiment. We put it there, and we got the first sale, and we were, wow, this is actually happening. This is possible, And now when I back at it, it's just when I get back at it, I feel like it's so. Not stupid, sorry for the word, but it feels like, wow, it's just like the first sale, And now, when you get more experience, you get one sale and you're like, oh, that's cool. But you don't get that fulfillment that you got the first time, right? But that was like a party, And we were like, okay, let's do more things, And then after that, we started designing, because, we already had a lot of personal work, and we were like, mm-hmm. okay, let's open an Etsy store. Mm-hmm. And there we put some prints and everything. We were like, yeah, that's it. I think by that time I had like 8,000 followers on Instagram or something like that. And we were like, that's it. We're going to sell them, $40 a poster. They are awesome, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. We put them up, nothing. nothing is happening, zero sales. My mom bought one, I think, and maybe a couple of friends did, just to make us happy. And I was like, put reviews, maybe we can, but nothing. And then we started like, wow, what can we do, And then I met one of my best friends called Max from Lettering Daily. He's also a lettering artist. And he was like, yo, there's these brushes for Procreate that are getting, kind of like trendy and all that. And also by that time, I met Tom from Design Cuts. Design Cuts is the marketplace we nowadays sell through.
Mm-hmm.
And, I started talking to them and blah, blah, blah. And then we decided to actually get to decide my Instagram audience. What do they want from us? Because we're like, listen, there's a lot of you here and nobody's buying anything. And so what's happening? We're like, we're so confused. Like, we don't get it.
Which, by the way, like experienced by everybody, right? Like anybody who's like, oh, I'm creative. I can like make a living on my creativity. I'm going to make something and put it online, and then nothing happens.
Nothing happens, crickets. And so we thought, okay, let's ask, and we did some polls and we put it on Instagram, and we started asking things, to our followers and to friends there, and, all these acquaintances that we made throughout the years and all that. And then they like, some of them started like, yo, I would love to learn this thing, like how do you do this? Or, well, these textures you put in your letterings, like how, what is that? Where does it come from? And then I started, researching, and then I saw that there were a lot of companies already doing Procreate brushes and Photoshop. I mean, previously, I saw a lot of companies doing Photoshop brushes back in the day, but this Procreate thing was kind of, something new and all. So we bought an iPad. We started, getting better at Procreate, and then we did our first Procreate brush set, and we kind of did a whole presentation, what you can do with this and why it's awesome. And then we put it in the Design Cuts, and that's it. That's how we found out that our people wanted that from us. They started tagging us on Instagram with, made with Shalbam's brushes, this, that, and we couldn't believe it. I think the first product actually went to the main page of Design Cuts, which is by that time already a huge company, that has a lot of products, but our product kind of like captivated the attention of the people that were following us, and also, the Design Cuts people, a community, right?
Yeah.
And that's how we started. And that's how we said, okay, this is a thing, we should do more. So then we started growing, and then we, more sales. Then, we opened the website. We put also, we started doing a newsletter. We started offering freebies. So basically you go to our newsletter, you subscribe to our newsletter community newsletter, sorry. And then you get freebies that can, give you a taste of what we sell. And then, people started like, getting in touch with all these little products we were doing.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was the kind of like start of, this was the first stream that we actually, let's say we were, I don't know, that we kind of nailed.
Like,
let's say.
Yeah. And you did it. This is because you also asked people what they're looking for, right? And
that was that. And now I'm saying this to everybody, like whoever, if you don't have an Instagram following, if you don't have social media, even ask people around you. Like whoever, like even your.
Well, how many people were following you at that time?
I think at that time I got around, I think it was already, because I'm not super active in social media, but I think it was a solid 23,000, something like that.
Yeah.
So, what helped a lot is to have a community behind that. I was kind of building the community without even knowing I was,
Yeah.
Because as I'm telling you in the beginning, I didn't know what this community wanted from me, and that's the whole thing. Ask your community, like why are you here? For starters.
Well, I think that's what I was saying. I think that, as creatives, that you're ahead of the game without realizing it, right? Like there's a lot of creatives out there who have great followings on social media, but aren't monetizing those followings and aren't using them to build their business. And, one of the hard lessons that I learned, after years, and I've got a big 3D film background, and, I had been climbing that ladder, that creative ladder, and, got to a point where I was global creative director for this big company. And my thought was like, the higher I climb, the more, creative freedom I'll get. And then I remember coming out of this one meeting one day where that thought was just destroyed. And I was like, I'm never going to have creative freedom. And at the time I saw it as bad. And it took me a while to realize that none of this is about me. Like when we have our businesses and when we're selling things to other people, it's all about them. And the businesses that thrive and do the best are the ones that take care of their customers, that give their clients what they're looking for and what they need. And to be in a situation where you can ask them, I mean, that's absolutely a great position to be in, because you say, well, what can I do to serve you? What can I do for you? What do you want from me? Right. And I'll do it. Right. If enough of you guys want it, I will do it. Right. And now you're 100% in service of your audience, of your clients, of your customers. And it's great. So this is awesome. So you were starting out, you were just doing anything and everything you can do in the very beginning, illustration wise. And then you started to get, you raised your prices, which was like a huge thing, right? Which is awesome. It's like, okay, we got to charge more, which then also leads to bigger clients, because then you start to realize that if you have cheap prices, you get cheap clients and you get small jobs. But if you have big prices, you get big clients and beautiful jobs, right?
And just one thing, and when you post cheap stuff on the internet, the cheap clients are going to come because they're going to see this is cheap stuff. And when it comes to graphic design, you can basically see what's cheap and what's expensive. You can see it, So what I would advise in any job is like, first of all, if you have a budget of $1,000, the job that you're doing should be at $2,000 budget. Kind of like the value you would put, is better than the price,
exactly.
And that's always there. And then once you're delivering something that has, more value than what you're getting paid for, then you are here, and then you can just, climb the ladder as you go. And that's the cool. And also erase things. I'm a fan of quality over quantity. I'm gonna say I hate quantity. Like I don't like it, because listen, a lot of creatives are doing quantity stuff. Like one thing is, you have to be there every day. The algorithm likes, in Instagram, the algorithm likes for you to be there every day.
Right.
But I'm not a fan of posting things that I'm not really, that I'm not happy about, because kind of like then I'm putting out things that they are not defining me. Right.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know. I kind of lost track of what I was saying, but quality.
Quality over quantity. Right. And because it's your brand. It goes back to what I was saying earlier in terms of there's no advantage to being the second cheapest. Like you're either going to be the cheapest and you'll do the quantity, right? And you can have a bunch of people, and that's your thing, and that's cool. Like there's a market for that. But I'm like you. I'm a fan of high ticket stuff. But I think when we start talking about multiple streams of revenue, right, and where things are coming in, you can start thinking about those price points, because you don't want to alienate people either, right? So like you said, you have your free stuff that kind of indoctrinates people into your world. You get the newsletter, you get some freebies, they learn about you, they start to warm up to you. And then you can have, a lower priced item. Like you can have a low cost item, but it doesn't take up your time. Right. And maybe that's like, I know you have, we can get into this, the education side, but maybe there's like, a low cost pre-recorded piece of education that can help people become more like you because they want to have a business like you one day. Right. Or they want to be able to draw like you, and they want to be able to create art like you. Right. And so you can put that. And I think this is kind of like the fonts and the brushes, right? You spend time to build something, And I like to say, like, I like to build these little business machines and then set them free into like the internet, into the world. Right. And so it's like, I'm going to create this font, I'm going to create this brush and this little package, and then I'm going to send it out into the world, and it's going to work for me and I don't have to do anything anymore. And maybe there's some maintenance, and every now and then I got to check up on it or update some copy or some images or something, but that's going. So now that might not bring in, enough revenue to support you, but how much of these little bits do you have, like in these different pieces of revenue that add up to a lot more, right? And like we kind of master these things along the way. Like, okay, I got really good at illustration. I got really good at lettering. I got really good at fonts. I got really good at brushes. I got really good at teaching people. And again, like you said, it's the quality side, right? It's not the quantity. I'm not, this is me just now. I'm just like thinking about everything.
I love it. Yeah,
like,
go ahead.
Right. But this is not, have multiple streams of income. To have the quantity does not going to be cheap, right? Like you don't want to put a bunch of cheap products out. So even within the product space and like your selection, right? So you're going to take your time on each one. You're going to master it. You're going to, okay, like I got this, and like, this is quality. This represents my brand, and this will take care of my customers and give them what they need. This is great. And then now it doesn't take as much of time and effort, right? And then you'd go move on to the next thing. And it's better over time. I would think like over the course of say like 5 to 10 years, or let's say 3 to 5 years, it depends on different industries and what you're doing, but you have like 5 really amazing products, right? Instead of having 50 just okay products, right? Like let's make them really great, but then they can also, if we look into it a little bit more, we can start to think about how we price them, right? And this is where I was going, where you have like, you're not alienating anybody. Like you have your low ticket, your low priced items, and you have your high ticket items, right? You have the stuff for somebody who doesn't have the money, but would really love to have a piece of you in their world, right? And then you've got the high end with like the businesses, they come in, and that's when like it brings in major chunks of cash flow, right? And maybe there's a couple of those per quarter, or one per quarter. And like you start looking at how all these different things come in. And instead of me saying, I was about to think of like benefits, but for you, right? What are let's just talk about benefits of having multiple streams of revenue. Like what's the point of having multiple products like this?
That's interesting. Well, first of all, that you don't have to panic every month. That's the first thing, It takes off weight a lot, because in August, even though we're growing and probably we do have clients in August, but if it was the time that we didn't have any clients, we would be okay. We would, since our, the main thing we do is now products and educational content. We do not need, clients. Also, being our own client is kind of cool, because whenever we do a product, let's say we're doing a pack of brushes, what I take from that is that every illustration I do that month, I'm going to use those brushes, and I'm not working. It doesn't feel like I'm working, because I'm just, doing illustrations that I want. But at the same time, I'm recording myself with a camera, and I'm using the brushes, and I'm making the brushes better that later on I'm going to sell. So
I love that.
So we have all these, all these illustrations that we really like doing. And then we just have to pack them up, kind of, explain to people how did we do them, and what kind of brushes we used and why, and how, also we also show the process in Instagram all the time, because you have to be of service, and you have to be, people love seeing what's happening inside your business, and they love seeing the background and how are you coming up with all these ideas, and because that helps them also, and they kind of get attached to the product you're doing, and then you're going to see more sales as well, because they kind of, oh wow, like I've seen the process of this thing, and I know they put so much effort in it, and they put so much value that I can take from it, and then they end up buying it. So in the end, it's what I value the most is just that I'm really having fun. It's me painting. Sometimes I think about it. It's me. Okay, it's not that easy, because then you also have to think that you have to do products with a purpose, and you have to cover certain things that are not covered yet in the market, or teach certain things that you're not, that that they are not yet taught in the market. And but I think, yeah, coming back to you know to why, you know, is best to do this, and I think for every business is that if you have all your eggs in one basket, if this basket breaks, everything else is gone, you know. And
Yeah.
what happened, especially what happened in COVID times, was that we had no clients. All our clients vanished because it was drinks, it was things that couldn't go to the market anymore, you know, the bars, brandings, and all that. And thank God we had the products that sustained us, so we focused more on that, and that's it. You know, we didn't struggle. We didn't have to find another job or, you know, close the door or something. You know, it was just it helped. You know, and probably who knows? Maybe in 3 years the market is super saturated, which I don't think so, because there's always, you know, place for artistic things. But maybe it's so saturated that we have to, you know, kind of, you know, come up with something else. And the you know, if you already have it, then you can just focus your energy on it.
Yeah.
But without, you know, it's not gonna, you know, leave you hanging. I don't know if I explained myself really well, but
I know. I see what you're saying. Like, I think it's certainly one of the things that makes my life easier, right? Is having different revenue streams, being able to fulfill on different things. And some things are more automated than others, right? And so, because it's almost like there's an ebb and flow with everything, right? Everything's kind of ebbing and flowing. And so then you have things like COVID that hits, or natural disasters, or political things, just things that you just didn't see coming, right? And which just like that normal ebb and flow all of a sudden becomes this big valley, right? And all of a sudden you go like way down. But if you have multiple things that you're doing, they're on their own path, right? And so while one might be down, another one might go up. And like I've heard a lot from, you know, I did a series of interviews on COVID, like interviewing creatives and how they managed COVID. And it's the one thing that, like, it was like the common thread why they were all fine. Like I was expecting, like, you know, really like some harder stories, but really it was like, you know, this line of revenue dried up. Right? Like this stopped happening, just like what you're saying. The companies stopped buying, right? But then everybody was at home and everybody was like now fixing up their interior space, right? And so all these artists, these fine artists, were selling prints and selling, you know, commission jobs, and then they just got to like sit and create and sell to one person. So then it swung more to like, well, this is like a higher ticket, higher value, one-off custom thing that I'm doing for people. But they were able to manage it. And then a lot of them, like there was a lot of in-person education going on. And then it was just like the story of how they had to pivot their education to be online, right? And do it through Zoom, and how they had to adjust some things, or taking old courses that they had recorded live and then saying, hey, now why don't I sell that recording and at a lower price, right? And it was really beneficial, and it's cool. I dig it. So how many streams of revenue do you have right now? Like what are like your core product lists, and like what stuff you're looking at into the future?
Okay, so that's interesting, because I just wanted to touch on that. So let's get back a year ago. You know, we were doing the brushes and everything, and we realized that we have to add some more value, right? Because there's a big saturated market, you know, and we needed to step up our game, because otherwise we're going to disappear. So what we did there was just, for maybe lower prices, get more, you know, like give them more. Because listen, in the end, it's, you know, most of our customers are beginners that really want to learn, you know, and they're, you know, the best people ever. And I have like deep connections with them in Instagram, and I made a lot of friends that just wanted to learn. And in the end, you know, we became friends and all. So we said to ourselves that maybe, you know, in the brushes, we can start adding some tutorials inside, you know. And so we started, you know, kind of like doing the written tutorials, you know, inside the app Procreate. And then after a while, we were like, okay, now now that we are making a bit more money, you know, let's go all in and spend 6 months doing a full lettering tutorial, well, like workbook guide in Procreate. And then we invested 6 months of our lives, and we did the kickoff lettering toolbox, which is it takes you from calligraphy to lettering, and it teaches you all these steps, and that's already inside educational, like completely, and then that got like, it was received pretty well. And then we were like, okay, now it's time for us to talk. And that's something that, we are not natives, and most of our audience is English, so we thought, okay, let's just do it, because it's for non-native, sometimes it's hard for us to like start doing something like that. You're always afraid that your English is not gonna be good and all that, and we decided, what, let's do it. And we started doing live sessions with design cuts and participating in like these little events here and there, and people were receiving it really well. And we, like, Taya and I are really people's people. And is it called like that, man? I think so. Is it
like a people person, right?
Like a people person, but we are too. So people's people. I don't know. Well, anyways,
I think I'm picking up what you're putting down. Yeah.
Let's go with that. And we realized that we really enjoy talking to people. We really enjoy being live and teaching things that they are so natural for us because we are doing them every day. And why not? So we started doing that. A lot of, and that also helped us sell a lot. Because you do the live sessions and people get to see, how do you do things and why, and they get to see the passion we have, and all that. And we started also creating connections there. And, we got invited to podcasts talking about it. And we also created our YouTube channel, that now we're celebrating basically that we have 2,000 subscribers. So that's a big achievement for us. And
that's awesome.
So that's the third one, right? So out of the brushes, we started educational content, and now we are fully committed to do educational content. This year, I partnered up with a big platform called Domestika. I don't know if you know them.
I actually only know because I was looking through your stuff. I saw stuff on it. Yeah.
Yeah, they started in Spain a lot of years ago, but now they're based in San Francisco, I believe.
Okay.
And now it's a huge company, and they started doing courses in a lot of languages. Especially now they're getting really big in the English industry. And so they reached out, and I went to Madrid. I did the whole super professional course for the first time. A lot of cameras around me,
Yeah.
It was scary, but they treated me so well, and I'm super happy. So you see, there you go. Like that's another, stream. It's just your products and also educational content that you're going to do through another company, that's big enough, that's going to put you in front of a lot of people,
Yeah.
So that's three of them. And now, I'm investigating new ones that we can talk about if you want.
Yeah. If you're comfortable. And one thing I want to mention, because education is huge, right? And a lot of people are doing it. And I think for those that might be concerned that they're selling their specialty, or they're teaching people how to do what they do, and therefore it might hurt their business. I think, you're just smiling, shaking your head. No. And I agree, right? Like there's so many people on this planet, and there's so much opportunity. There's plenty to go around, right? And there's enough for everybody to have a business, to sell their stuff, and to make money, and to live whatever life they want to live. Right. And to not, I think people should look at competition, and competitors in your space as a good thing, right? It's a sign that there's a market, right? There's a sign that there's people out there looking for what you want to sell, right? But then also it can help you, especially when you're starting out. You can look at what other successful brands are doing, the ones that have put in all the time of the trial and error, like you talked about earlier, who put their hard-earned money and time into figuring out what people want. You're able to ask your audience, right? And so therefore you create products based on a demand. And so we can look at our competitors and be like, oh, well, this big company is doing this. There must be a reason for that. So I don't want to copy them, but let me just model, like people use the word model, like model success, right? But success leaves clues, right? Like we hear these things, but the idea is to say, oh, that's working. What is the outcome that they're selling. So don't copy their product, don't copy their words, but look and pay attention to the outcome they're selling, the emotions that they're selling on, right? Like, oh, like we were talking, like I was just like, just throwing stuff out earlier and saying like, oh, my brand will be more valuable because it'll have this feeling, right? Like the one thing about like I see in your art, like to me, it seems like fun and free and exciting. And it presents an emotion and a feeling that I like it seems happy and enjoyable. And I want to attract people that are happy and enjoyable and right. And like, so like attracts like, and so you can be yourself. And then to attract like the things that you want to attract, like you said, like you put your own artwork out there and it all just kind of all ties it. You can see how quickly it just like spirals out. Right. But yes, back to what you were saying.
No, but yeah,
what are you thinking coming down the line?
I love what you just said, man. Like, I have a lot of, I have a lot of friends especially from university that are just graphic designers, right? And they do their thing, they work for someone or they're freelancers or whatever. And I'm always like, they always come to me and they tell me, but you're selling your everything, your secrets, you're like, you're giving them everything. And I'm like, I don't have any secrets. I don't literally, I don't think my work has any secrets and I don't have to hide anything, just imagine how uncomfortable I would be by teaching things and not giving my 100%. Just
right. Right. Yeah, that's a good point. You wouldn't be able to do it. Like people would not get the value out of it because you would be holding back. You'd feel uncomfortable. Your energy is not there. You're absolutely right. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm like, coming from the point that I have no secrets, I'm just gonna tell them everything, and that's it. But you know what? Because tomorrow I'm gonna learn something from someone who has no secrets either, so that's the whole point. Like if I got to this point is because there's been a lot of people that I got influenced by, and a lot of people that gave stuff for free because they just wanted to help, or stuff for free, or courses that I bought. That's also the thing. But literally, I'm really not. Actually, this year, Thea and I are having this idea that we want to put out a course on talking about how to do a product from beginning to end, and teach the brushes, each brush we do, how do we do everything, the importance of the presentation, the extras, the extra value that we're gonna give to people, and kind of making sense of why we are successful, and kind of like putting out there, everything we know, so people can actually, take it on and kind of, do it themselves, because it's literally, So that's going to be something that we're going to do this year. And
I think it's going to be
talking
huge.
about, I hope so. Yeah, a lot of people have been asking, and I'm preparing for it, because if I do it, I want to make sure that it's perfect and they can actually, start doing products and make money themselves. And that's something that I really want for them. So one thing that I'm looking forward to in the future, and that's something that I'm preparing as well. It's like the fourth stream of revenue, kind of art licensing, and that's something that I've been thinking about for such a long time, and I never wrapped my head around it. So now I'm about to buy a couple courses, and I'm building. Thea and I are building our portfolio for art licensing. So basically, okay, in a nutshell, basically you create art that can be rented out to companies for a certain amount of time. And like, since we do personal work all the time, that's gonna be tied up. We do personal work because we like it, and that gives us clients, that gives us an opportunity to use our brushes for our products. And now the last thing we want to put is this: we can rent out the artwork, so companies can do I don't know, cards for selling for Christmas, or they can put it on pillows and stuff like that, and license it for a certain period of time. and get like a passive income also from there. And
Love it.
that's something that I really, really want to get into. It's a bit complicated, because a lot of people don't understand the concept, especially in Europe, I'm seeing.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's something.
And there's the NFT side too, right? I mean, you can do that on the digital front.
That's the last one. That's the last one. Yeah, I like that one. I like that one a lot. I have an NFT, so if someone's a collector, you can go check it out. No, but for real though, I minted my first NFT a few months ago. I was a bit concerned because the whole impact on the environment and all that. And that's something that I think the companies are trying to work on and kind of like make it more green, and all that. So I hope that's something that we're going to get into. But I think NFTs is the future, in not just in art, but in music and in all kinds of. Have you had any experience in the?
I haven't. No, I've just started researching and looking into it. But yeah, it seems inevitable. Yeah.
It is inevitable. It's coming, and yeah, it's basically owning a piece from someone you like, and that it's an investment. You invest in artists, and that's gonna be really important, for certain people, that they're doing awesome work and or they're just getting started, and you see that this person is gonna become famous, and instead of just buying their art and hanging it on your wall, you just buy a digital JPEG and own it until it's also your own. It's an investment, right? So you trust the person. You're helping this person monetize their art, and also you're investing because you can actually sell that in the future.
Yeah, as you can license it out,
of it.
Right?
You can license it out. Yeah,
to video games, to virtual events, like whatever. You can just. It
is a whole world, that as you said, I like the word inevitable because I think it is, and it's coming. And I keep talking about it, with friends that are not in the in the blockchain space, or because I'm kind of like hooked on that.
I
started in 2017, and I'm kind of like, I really like it, and I'm kind of talking, to my parents kind of now get what an NFT is, which is it was one of my missions in February when I came there. But right now I'm actually participating in a big collaboration that it's gonna go live, I think the 9th of September. So it's 30 artists with we have like a base, and we are designing it in our own way. Let's say there's 3D, like super good 3D artists, 2D artists like me, and it's gonna go live in Rarible in a week actually. So super excited. I don't know what's gonna happen though.
We should add some links and stuff to this so people can learn about it and know what's going on.
Oh yeah, would love it. And as I said, I minted this NFT a few months ago just because I wanted to try. It's also a bit expensive. I think I spent $200 to put it online. So I was like, okay, listen, I'm gonna try. I'm gonna put it there. I didn't sell it, because you kind of have to be in the community, kind of like have to be a lot in Twitter, because in Twitter there's a huge NFT community, and doing all these Discord, new apps, that I'm really not familiar with. But
you have to do things, right? To truly learn how something works, you have to do it. Like your education doesn't finish. I guess it never finishes, but like you don't truly really like complete the source of the education until you start actually doing it and get feedback from the world and the experience. And then it's almost like it's like this exponential curve, like the learning even just gets like more and more and more and more, right? And I think so many people, they stop, they like read something or watch something and they feel like they've learned it, but it's like it's just like, that's the beginning flat part of the curve, right? Like you need to get there and do it. We have been talking for so long. I feel like we can talk forever.
What time is it? Wow. Okay. It's been a while. Yeah.
It's been a while. There's so like, first of all, congratulations. Like, what you're doing at your company, that everything you're saying is so good and is so on point. And I think people listening to this or watching this aren't even going to get it all. Like they'd have to go back and watch it again. I'll certainly try to pull out some good notes and put it in there and, underneath, so people make sure to see everything that we're talking about. But the way that you're building it, like one of my favorite things, when you're talking about the different revenue streams, is how you're painting something, right? You're digitally painting something, which is a product, is something you're selling, right? But you've created your own tools to paint it, right? Yeah. And so you're creating a product, you created a product to create a product. And now from that, you can sell multiple products. The product you created, the tools that you use to create that product, the education to understand how to use those tools, but also how to make those tools, right? And it's like looking for, like, when we start looking for other revenue streams, we don't have to go really far out. The best way is, how can we create multiple revenue streams out of a single action, right? How does it, like, each action we do, how can we use that in multiple ways? Like, the really simple way is just, we're on Zoom right now. We're having this conversation. I'm recording it, but I'll be able to cut it up and use it for social media. I'll be able to, it goes into the Facebook group. It goes onto YouTube. It goes onto a podcast. I'm using it for multiple things. But we do the same thing with our products and within our business. And how can we, right? And I think everybody, like, if you're just trying to figure this out, don't worry if it's not clear. It'll become clear, right? And once you start looking for something, you will find it. But if you don't find it in 30 minutes or 3 hours or 3 days, don't sweat it. Just chill out. Slow your roll. It'll come, and
it'll come together. And also, the last thing I want to say is to have a lot of patience, because, creating these kind of things take time, and you have to, try, and you have to fail, because, as I said in the beginning, when we started trying to sell things, we failed a couple times. We kind of failed with the funds, even though after kind of it took on a little bit, and we failed the selling the artworks, and because we just were selling things that we thought in here that they would sell, and that was the problem. So ask things, get a lot of patience. And it's gonna be okay. I think if you invest your time, and if you're passionate about it, and you like it, and you enjoy doing it, I think everything's gonna pay off in the end, for sure.
So good. What a wonderful way to end. I feel like I should just walk away and you close it out, and that's it.
Boom. Bye.
Boom. Where can people find you? I know we've touched on it, but if you want to rattle it off, and I'll make sure it's in show notes and all that stuff. But if you want to just tell everybody.
Okay. So you're going to find me at Jimbo Bernaus on Instagram. Also at Shoutbam on Instagram. And you can also join my newsletter. That would be awesome. You have a lot of freebies there, and we keep updating it every month. And the website is shoutbam.com. And we actually, I think in a month and a half, we're going to have a brand new website, which is super exciting. We've been working on it for the last year, and we're going to, have an academy inside. We are kind of focusing it more, on the, educational side of things, and super, super excited. It's looking great. Our designer is the best. So yeah, super looking forward to it.
Awesome. Well, I wish you nothing but continued success and growth.
Thanks.
And everybody, go check them out. Check out Shoutbam, see what's going on. Follow them, do all those things. Thank you so much for your time. This has been awesome. This has been definitely longer than we expected, but you can't slow it down. You can't control it. You just got to let it happen.
Oh, good, man. And I think when I talk to like-minded people, it's just time just doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
I would be here until tomorrow, and I'm super happy that you invited me, and I'm just super man. I'm going to bed right now, and I'm super happy this happened today. Super happy. Thanks so much.
Oh, thank you. All right, thank you everybody for listening and watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.
Bye.
Hey, so hopefully you enjoyed that interview as much as I did, and you're checking out all the interviews. And remember, if you're looking to grow your business for any reason, head over to goldenoctopillar.com/EBM. That's EBM for Extreme Business Makeover, and we'll get you on the path to doubling your sales in the next 90 days. And also, don't forget to head over to Instagram and Facebook and follow all these amazing business owners, and keep checking out what they're doing, because they're great people doing great things, and I want to share as much love as I can with them. So thanks, and have a great day.